Hey everybody, starting saying here, and okay, there is just something that is really making me mad, making me upset. And once you find out what it is, you're probably gonna be wondering, why didn't you do this before? I'm not gonna tell you right now, laziness. I'm in the basement, so I'll try to get out some of the noise, but I'm in a basement. I need any of my good followers would know this by now. But the subject of the thing of for the past week surrounding the Michael Brown shooting. Oh my gosh, do I have a whole lot to say about this. I mean, I was up last night at like 4 in the morning and even past that, trying to write stuff down, and I'm just like, I'm too tired and I'm too ragey. So I'm pretty much doing this from what I know off the top of my head. So, information will probably be accurate. Probably. Anyway, from what I do know, we're going to go back to last week, the 9th, a Saturday. And at about noon, pretty much, if I recall the time, 12:01 p.m., Michael Brown was shot dead. He was unarmed, and he was unarmed. But the thing is, this has got the city of Ferguson up and protesting in an uproar. Because he was unarmed. Probably like this. Like this, hands up. He's unarmed. And he was shot 9 times, if I recall correctly. That's a bit of a problem. Because the officer shot somebody who was unarmed. According to some reports, hands up like this. To some eyewitnesses, hands up like this. Now, if you don't know what exactly he looks like, his race is black. And that's probably got some of you who hadn't known this already, which, if you hadn't known this already, I applaud you for avoiding every little bit of social media and news and not having anybody else tell you for over a week. If this is your first time hearing this, I applaud you for not being told this. But I figured it's over a week, almost everybody in America should know what's going on, or at least everybody immediately in the St. Louis area. Because Ferguson is a part of St. Louis County. More specifically, what would be known as North County, but I don't know the exact boundaries of how they label that. But in St. Louis County, we have it split up into, which is meaning that I'm part of it. In St. Louis County, they're split up into some sub-counties: North County, South County, and West County. And St. Louis City is not part of the county at all, which is a weird phenomenon, and something that I am definitely not used to when I try to look up other cities and the counties that they're in and all that stuff. Anyway, following that, the following day, about a week ago, which is pretty much a week ago, Sunday the 10th, there are people protesting in Ferguson. Goes pretty well throughout the day, but at about, I say 9, maybe 10 o'clock, once it gets dark, people start rioting and looting. About 50 people start looting the stores. A lot of stores on West Florissant, and West Florissant is actually barely in the city of Florissant, which is one of the neighboring cities. But it goes along West Florissant enough to where it not only hits all of Ferguson, but gets into Delwood and Jennings. So 3 towns are hit by all this looting, this rioting, and a Quick Trip is burnt. Pretty much set on fire and pretty much destroyed for all intents and purposes. The police, in response to that, starting Monday, start showing up in riot gear, in militarizing. I don't even know if that's even a word, but basically making it look like this is a military, up to the military degree, in SWAT armor, in armored vehicles. And during the night, Monday night, when protesters start, and a big group of protesters start to, trying to think, at about midnight, 1 in the morning, when, most people should really be going to bed, unless you're me and you go to bed at 4 in the morning. Anyway, big crowd all on West Florissant, and they start tear gassing the protesters and shooting them with rubber bullets. Or wooden bullets, too. I've heard cases of where it's both rubber and wooden bullets. Not caring who gets caught up in it, because on Monday, a state senator gets caught up in the tear gas, and later on asks the police if she's going to get gassed again. Shooting tear gas into people's own lawns, like their backyards or their front yards, but I'm pretty sure it's mostly backyards. And just, causing a whole lot of problems. Tuesday night seemed to have been a lot, and most of the stuff that's happening after this point, in the day it's pretty calm, but at night is when things start getting a little out of hand. So, Tuesday the day goes through, all the cleanup and all the peaceful protesting. Tuesday night goes kind of okay. Wednesday is when things start getting really kind of bad, because things get a little out of control, and more tear gas is used, more rubber bullets are used during the night. Thursday during the day, Governor Jay Nixon, who was going to be going to the Missouri State Fair, ends up going to St. Louis to address that, since the county police and the Ferguson police have no control over what's going on, that now the ones in charge are Missouri State Highway Patrolmen, who are definitely, higher up in the hierarchy, but is trying its best to keep it local. After all this, Thursday goes probably one of the best days since then, because there was no report of tear gas and maybe a little bit of misbehaving. And they really have just a little parade thing where, if you've been following me on Twitter, you probably saw the retweet of, just this nice little train that's supposed to be boarded for kids, but you see grown adults just on there, just having this nice little parade stuff. Going back to Wednesday, because now I remembered what happened. State alderman got arrested. I think he even got pulled out of his car. And two news reporters got arrested at a McDonald's during the day, if I might add, because they were clearing out people, which clearly shows that the police are not in control of anything at that point. Thursday goes pretty smooth. Friday, however, they finally release the name of the officer who shot and killed Michael Brown, who goes by the name, if I recall, Darren Watson. They also release pictures of a robbery that happens about a half to 2/3 miles away from where Michael Brown was shot dead, saying that Michael Brown was a suspect of this case, but they also put in the fact that the police officer did not know that Michael Brown was a suspect. This goes in a pretty negative response. And I watch a lot of this stuff unfold in a live feed from Tim Pool from what is it, Voice Rocks, some sort of news thing that I haven't even heard of to begin with, but looked straightly legit because he was just showing. It was live feed, and there's no way in the world you could edit live feed while it's going on. So I was watching this live. Things got pretty intense. The police stayed where they were. Actually, what happened a little bit before I managed to see the live feed was that there was some tear gas thrown a little bit before midnight. Then after midnight, they were still crowding up the streets, a good chunk of people. Police tried warning them, and then some people ran off and tried to loot again. I say tried because the community, the Ferguson community, did all they could to stop it, so there was not much looting. They did try setting the Ferguson, there was an attempt to burn the Ferguson Market and Liquor where they supposedly claimed Michael Brown was a suspect of robbery for. A few other places. Now, I'm watching this live feed. My mom's watching a news thing upstairs, and this is about 1 a.m, where my mom is realizing and saying that they're claiming stuff was set on fire, like a Domino's, which was blatantly untrue. There wasn't a McDonald's. Now, while all this looting and the community policing themselves is going on, the police are still standing there. They're still standing there. Just, I don't know at that point, picking their noses for all I know. But this was not met with a positive response of the releasing of the information. I may tell you that the releasing of the information of the video by the Ferguson police chief was warned by the Department of Security or something. People told the police chief not to release that information because they knew it would cause more problems. So Friday night is on this police chief's head. Saturday during the day at about 2 or 3 o'clock. I think it was about 3 o'clock to 3:30 actually at this point, where Governor Jay Nixon declares Ferguson to be in a state of emergency and then also instates a curfew from midnight to 5 a.m. for the city of Ferguson. Now, granted, this was definitely not met positively because that's restriction on the freedom of speech, which is a First Amendment right. Now, granted, I also did watch the live feed to find out what happened last night into early this morning, and there was only about maybe 100 or 2 protesters. Not even sure if there even was from Ferguson. Maybe a small amount were. But a good amount of the media was still there. And from what I found, the media wasn't supposed to be out either. So this was all feeding into each other. Lots of tear gas and smoke. I don't exactly believe the smoke, but I definitely believe there were tear gas used. And the police and media were not claiming. They were claiming that it was only smoke. And it wasn't. I was watching it live, people coughing and hacking, and definitely saying that that was the smell of tear gas. And they only started revealing it once people who were caught in it found the canisters of tear gas. Which means the media and the police were lying out their butts. Anyway, they are saying for tonight, the 17th, that the curfew is still there. Mostly everybody complied, and just a couple hundred people did not listen. But with all this information just of what has been going on in Ferguson, we're going to go back and kind of break apart what is known. Starting back to Saturday the 9th. I know some of you have probably already thought, if you had, or probably had this preconceived notion that A, he was either a black person and deserved to be killed, B, because now we know he was a suspect for a robbery, probably deserved to be shot, or that's the reason he deserved to be shot and killed. Or you're in this group of me thinking, you shot somebody unarmed, what the F is wrong with you? And you're probably in this small group of people, especially of my color, of the fact that I'm a white person. It's probably a small minority of the white people realizing this is wrong. The fact that there are no criminal charges, he is on paid leave, is not right. And I know some of you guys are going to want to go down in the comments and saying that I am this, that, and the other. Well, F you. I don't want your comments. I don't want your comments. I don't want your feedbacks. I'm disabling the comments for this video if you haven't figured it out already. There's a nice little thing. I don't want your comments. I don't want your feedback. This is not something up for discussion on my channel. Because I know what a good amount of you guys are going to say. Because a good amount of you are probably going to say he deserved to get shot for one way or another. Or you're going to say black people are thugs. And they're not. Not all of them. And there are such things as white thugs. And I mean, this is really stupid that this police brutality exists. The police can kill people, very specifically black people, by the way, and almost none of them get charged with a crime. I saw this whole list of police brutality enough to where it killed a person, and only maybe 1 or 2 out of a list of 12 to 15 actually got charged. What justice is that? Because I'm sorry, civil rights was in the 1960s, and the amendments that where black people are supposed to be equal to white people was over a century ago. It was in the late 1800s. And you guys haven't gotten the fact that these people are your equals. They are people. Treat them with respect. Because they do deserve it. And a lot of you guys that are of my skin tone, that are considered Caucasian, don't seem to understand that. You don't seem to understand that everybody should be treated equally, no matter if they're male, female, white, black, or even purple for all I care. They are still a person. They still deserve to be treated with the same amount of respect as you do with people of your own group. Anyway, moving on. The next thing I've got to say is, if you are somebody who is, and I need to charge my laptop, if you are somebody who is in the area and you're not here to support the family, support the fact of all this injustice, and you're not part of the media, and I've got a special rant for the media, by the way, we'll get to that a little later, go home. You are doing us no good being here. You are a complete outsider. You do not belong in the St. Louis area because you are causing more problems. You are getting lumped with the citizens of Ferguson as looters, as rioters, and they do not need to have the results of your actions on them. Go back to whatever freaking hole you came out of and stay there. Because you have caused enough problems. Now, the police. I don't know whose idea was it to bring in a crap ton of tear gas, riot gear, armored vehicles, stuff that looks like assault rifles, mind you, for the rubber and wooden bullets. I would hope they're just rubber and wooden bullets, though I know they can cause quite a bit of damage. I saw a picture of a woman lifting up the side where she got hit, and it covered pretty much almost all the area of skin she was showing from either a rubber or wooden bullet. So those things cause a lot of bruising. I don't know whose idea was it, but you need to rethink things. You are not thinking things out. I really wonder if anybody going through the policing thing takes any sort of idea of psychology. If anybody has told them that if they do this, there's a possibility that people will react this way. But because of all this, and the fact that a lot of people in the city do not trust what the police are doing, and in the past they have chanted, F the police. You are not making things any better because of how you guys have responded to things. A lot of things you have messed up on. You have messed up in pretty wrong ways. You did not need to shoot out 20 gas canisters of smoke and tear gas, especially the tear gas, to try to disperse a crowd of 100 people. At that point, you outnumbered the crowd. A lot of you could have come in and just arrested people. You only arrested 7 people last night. Why did you only arrest 7 people last night? Why? Why only 7 when the crowd was 100? Second of all, speaking of last night, because that was pretty evident and very clear and fresh in my mind, why did you wait till almost 1 in the morning before you even started releasing warnings? Why did you give them that leeway? Why did you give them that much of a leeway? You let them do what they wanted to for almost an hour. And then at about 1, you shot all the tear gas. I don't know how fair is that. And how silly it was. You started handing out warnings at 12:45 a.m. when the curfew's at 12. You should be starting to hand out warnings before the curfew starts. Are all you guys not thinking with your heads on straight? Because you've been at this for about a week now? Are you guys just mentally out of it at this point? That you didn't realize, oh hey, it's almost curfew time, we should probably tell people to leave. And then at like 12:05, if they're not gone, we should be starting to arrest people. And really, what was that all about? To the Ferguson police chief, whose name I cannot remember right now, besides the fact that I think its last name is Johnson, So, what made you think that it was a good idea to release all the information that you did? You only stated that you were going to release the officer's name. Nobody knew that you were going to do that stuff, even though you had been advised. These past 2 nights are because of your actions. Because of what you did. Because of what you did, what happened the past 2 nights is your fault. And you are probably not going to take any damn responsibility for what you have done. And now to the majority, if not the majority of the media. I have pretty much grown to not like you guys. Because you tend to bend and twist your own stories to please whatever freaking audience you have. Newsflash. Just in case you don't know this stuff, the majority of mass media production stuff is, the TV, the news, and all that stuff, they're owned by white males. The majority of them, the majority of TV channels and stations and all that stuff are owned by white males. And no matter who is in charge of it, they will make what they broadcast try to be appealing to whoever they think their main audience is, which is probably, if they're owned by white people, they're probably trying to please white people. They're probably trying to please their audience without it actually, and they may be spinning up lies, twisting tales, just as badly as the police have. I've been trusting what I've been seeing on social media more than I've been trusting the news. Even more so because of all these lies, all these twistings. Right now, I can't trust any of my local news stations. I'm more into trusting an internet news website more. Especially once they showed how unbiased they are. And the thing is, people are buying what the news media has been telling them. And that's not good. Because the media, the police and the media, have been painting Michael Brown to be a looter, which somehow justifies him being murdered, which is not okay in any reason, because of the fact he was unarmed. He was unarmed. And B, making the protesters, those who are actually protesting peacefully in Ferguson, look like they're the rioters. And that is also not right. Because the media is twisting it to where a lot of people in the city of Ferguson are not trusting the media either. And at this point, I don't trust the media either. When you've done some classes, and one is called Dangerous Messages, and they go into how the media does things, it's no surprise I don't trust the media, and I didn't really trust the media to begin with. And I mean, these people are protesting peacefully. They want to do it peacefully. But because of some bad apples, a lot of them are not from Ferguson or the St. Louis County area, they are causing problems. If you are not from the St. Louis County area and you are not from the media, get out. Especially if you are causing trouble. Go back to where you belong, go back to where you came from and cause your own trouble there. One other thing that I know I really have to explain here. Ferguson is about 2/3 black. Why do you have a police force that is grossly not reflecting your population? The Ferguson police, from what I do know that got reported out a little earlier last week, has 52 or 53 officers, and only 3 of them are black. That's not 1/5 of that's not 1/5 representation of your black people. That is not even 1/10. It's barely 1/20th of the representation. It's a very minuscule amount to the big amount of the population of racial representation. And you know what the funny thing of all this is? If this was some white kid who got shot unarmed, I should stop saying kid. If this was a person, a Caucasian person who got shot unarmed, this would be a whole different story. First of all, the kid would definitely be painted to be innocent. B, I don't think Ferguson would be protesting right now, or if so, there'd be a lot less people protesting in Ferguson. And 3, all this racist comments that I have seen over the past week that have grossly disgusted me, and I'm disgusted by my own race, that so many people can be that racist, that negative, that much that I want to beat them in the fucking face, would not be saying these things. And this is completely unfair. Just this whole situation, it's a big mess. And I don't care that I have been going on for 30 minutes now. Because this is stuff that needs to be said. Just a whole week's worth of things just has caused a whole lot of problems. And it's not going to get any better in the immediate future. Immediate future, this is not going to go over well. And things are not going to go over well if that officer is not arrested and put to trial. And then if he is put to trial, if most people still remember this, and I will still be remembering this, because of how close to home this is, there's going to be more protesting, more rioting. Because if that officer's not arrested, there's going to be mass chaos. Well, mass chaos in the sense of there's going to be probably more protesting. And those bottom feeders who want to cause more trouble may do it more widespread. So the people of Ferguson, keep trying to keep the people who are trying to cause your city harm, try to stop them from doing that. City of Ferguson Police, St. Louis County Police, Missouri Highway Patrolmen, all those people who have the authority to do any of this stuff. Be careful what you do. Because there are people still watching. They are observing. And do not censor us. Because I have been hearing word that you have been trying to take down videos and photos of what's been going on in Ferguson so you can twist your tail your own way. And those of us who have been spreading things on social media, which does include myself, do not want this happening. We do not want to be censored because this is a violation of our First Amendment rights. You will not be presented in a good light if you try to censor us. Because our First Amendment rights has not been caused for any warrant for our stuff to be taken down. And I know this. First Amendment rights, for the most part, will be protected. And I know this. Most cases that try to go to court for suing for people saying stuff mostly still go towards the person who says stuff. 19 out of 20 times. You try to censor, you try to decrease somebody's First Amendment rights, you're very likely to lose that fight in one form or another. Don't you dare, because unfortunately, there are thousands of people spreading stuff. Thank you.